Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking through a couple of my favorite plays on Prizepicks for today's slate for Sunday, May the 15th. We have two games on Sunday. We got Game 7 of Milwaukee and Boston. Winner of that series will play the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then we have Game 7 of Phoenix and Dallas. Winner of that series will play the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. This is our last, kind of day where we're going to have two games on one day. Because moving forward, when you get to the conference finals, you're only going to have like one game each day. I think the Heat and then whoever wins the Milwaukee-Boston game, that game one of that series will start on Tuesday, and then game one of the Western Conference Finals starts on Wednesday, and then you'll have the Heat or the Eastern Conference Finals. They'll play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, each day, one day, and then the next day. In the Western Conference Finals, it would be like Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So this is our last day with just two games. As we kind of move forward into the conference finals, I'm still going to do Prizepicks videos. Obviously, I'm still going to try and find some props I like, but it's going to be a little bit tougher just because we're only going to have one game each day, so there's not going to be as many options on the board. But for the two games on Sunday, I was able to find three props that I did like. Usually, I try and find at least three that I can share in the video. And I found three that I like for today. They're all fantasy point projections. Prizepicks does already have pretty much all their fantasy point projections posted. I found three fantasy point projections for today that I thought were all too low. So we'll talk through the props I like for today. Just before we do, we can recap Friday's plays, which was the last day that I made a video. There was no NBA games on Saturday, so obviously I didn't make a video Saturday. But on Friday, the three plays we gave out Friday, once again, we went 2-1 on Friday's plays. I think that's like 3 straight days now that we've lost we've lost a sweep by one. I think on Wednesday, we went 2-1 because of, I think it was, maybe, I can't remember what the pick was that we lost. It might have been Chris Paul's assist that we lost, or maybe it was, I think it was Andrew Wiggins' rebounds that we lost on Wednesday. He needed 6 rebounds and he only had 1. And then Thursday, we needed 9 assists from Chris Paul and he only had 4. That was our pick that lost Thursday. And then Friday, it was Jaren Jackson Jr.'s points that lost for us. We needed 18. He finished with 12. And Jaren Jackson Jr. had a terrible shooting game Friday night. He shot like 5 for 19. He shot like 1 for 7 from 3, I think, or 1 for 6. So unfortunate, we went 2-1 again on Friday. Like I said, that's 3 days in a row now that we've lost a sweep by 1. But I like 3 plays for today. I'm hoping we can get a clean sweep tonight, guys. Hopefully you were still able to make a little bit of money on Friday. Even though we didn't get every play right, maybe if you mixed and match, or maybe if you did a flex play, could have maybe got a little bit of money back. I do always say that it kind of makes the most sense to either flex play or to mix and match as 2-pick entries. Just because when you do that, even if we do get a pick wrong, you can still maybe get some money back or potentially profit depending on how you mix and match the plays. But yeah, I got 3 plays I like for today. Just before we get started talking through these plays, hit that like button, guys. Always appreciate the likes. Hit that subscribe button as well if you have not yet. I'm trying to upload these Prizepicks videos every day for you guys. And moving forward, even though we're going to have just one game a day, I'm still going to try and find some props I like each day for the conference finals for those games. And obviously, when we get to the finals, I'll still try and make videos for the finals games as well. But do want to mention that if you're new to Prizepicks and you have not signed up for Prizepicks, they're running a very cool promo for this Sunday night game. So they actually have Luka Doncic's points prop set at 0.5. So this is basically a free pick they are giving you. Obviously, you would just take the over 0.5 points for Luka Doncic, as you can see on the screen. As long as Luka scores 1 point Friday night, you will win that pick. You just have to find any other pick that you like to pair with that. Now, obviously, we're going to talk through the plays I like for today. If you want to pair my plays with the Luka Doncic promo, you can do that. I'm going to give out 3 plays in this video. If you want to take just one of the plays and pair it with Luka, you can do that. If you want to take 2, if you want to take all 3 plays, it's totally up to you. But obviously, you're going to take the over 0.5 points for Luka Doncic as kind of the freebie for today. I'm not going to include that in my plays. Obviously, you guys know to play that. It is a $25 limit. So if you want to do just one $25 entry, you could do that. If you want to do 2 $10 entries and a $5 entry, you could do that. If you want to do 5 $5 entries, it's totally up to you. It's just a max of $25 total that you can have on that promo. But definitely take advantage of stuff like this. Prizepicks, they do run these promos quite often. They'll probably run another one maybe later in the playoffs, maybe like during the finals. So if you're not signed up for Prizepicks, yeah, definitely get over there. Take advantage of some of these promos they're running. Make sure that when you do sign up, use promo code NOAH. They will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. So let's say you deposit $25. Obviously, you'll have an additional $25 to play with, and then that additional $25 you get from Prizepicks, you can use all that to enter into this, or enter with this Luka Doncic promo. So definitely cool thing Prizepicks is doing, get over there, sign up, use code NOAH if you have not yet, get your first deposit matched up to $100. But let's go ahead and talk through the plays that I like for today. And again, they're all fantasy point projections. I think there's 3 fantasy point projections that are definitely too low for today. And we'll start off with the first guy. I'm taking over 40 fantasy points for Jrue Holiday. I've been taking a lot of overs on Jrue Holiday so far in the playoffs and in this series. And he's kind of been, up and down when it comes to hitting his projection, going under his projection. But if you look at the games where he's gone under in this series, so there's obviously been 6 games played in this series. Jrue has gone under in he's gone over in 4 out of 6 games. He's only gone under in 2 games. In the 2 games where Jrue went under 40 fantasy points, he had 37, so he was 3 points short. And then last game he had 39, so he was 1 point short. It is worth noting that Jrue did get subbed out last game with about 1.5 minutes left, 2 minutes left, because it was kind of a blowout. So maybe if Jrue plays out those final 2 minutes or so, maybe he probably does get another fantasy point and goes over. Obviously, with this being Game 7, win or go home, Jrue Holiday's probably playing like 43, 44 minutes today. He played 42.5 minutes last game. We're going to get 40-plus minutes from Jrue Holiday. So far this year, without Chris Middleton on the floor, Jrue Holiday has averaged way over a fantasy point per minute. He's actually averaged 1.25 fantasy points per minute. He's got the second highest usage rate on the team without Middleton on the floor. Per 36, he's averaging almost 45 fantasy points per 36, and I would expect him to play over 36 minutes. I would expect him to play around 42, 43 minutes. I just think this projection is too low. I know Drew's gone over this in 4 out of the 6 games in the series. I feel like this projection should be 44, 45. Usually when he goes over, he's kind of right around his projection. He's been very, very consistent so far in the playoffs. We have seen some big games from Jrue, like that one game he had 52 fantasy points. But normally he's going to be, a bad game from Jrue Holiday in the playoffs right now is like 38 fantasy points. So like when he went for 37 and 39, like that was kind of like a floor game for Jrue. Normally he's, getting mid-40s fantasy points. I still feel like his projection is too low. I think it should be about 44, 45. If you project Jrue to play 42 minutes with the rates that he has without Chris Middleton, his projection should be probably 45, 46 fantasy points. We know Jrue Holiday can get steals and blocks as well. He got 3 steals and 2 blocks last game, and worth noting that on Prizepicks scoring, steals and blocks are worth 3 points each. So those are also huge. You can actually look at the usage so far in the playoffs. To no surprise, Jrue Holiday, second highest usage rate on the team behind Giannis. Giannis has had a massive usage rate in this series over the last 6 games. Jrue Holiday, 26.8% usage rate, which is pretty much right behind Giannis. Serge Ibaka, 37% usage rate. It's in 3 minutes. Don't even want to look at that. That was all garbage time. So the opportunity is going to be there for Jrue. He's going to play huge minutes. We know when he's on the court, he's going to shoot the ball a ton. He can get rebounds. He can get assists. He can get defensive stats. He just does everything when he's on the floor. So that's kind of why I like taking over 40 fantasy points. Still feel like this projection is a little bit too low. I know he went under last game. I don't care. I think this projection should be, in the mid-40s, not 40 itself. So like that one quite a bit as our first pick for today. And then our second pick, another fantasy point projection. I'm taking over 24 fantasy points for Mikal Bridges. So Mikal Bridges, normally not a guy that you consider a super, super productive point per minute player. But if you actually look so far in the playoffs, he has gone over this 24 fantasy point projection in 10 out of 12 playoff games this year. So you actually look at his game log. This is all the games that they play in the playoffs. I did FanDuel's fantasy scoring just because FanDuel's fantasy scoring is exactly the same as Prizepicks. So 25, 26, 27, 27, 27, 29. You can see it. Only 2 games in the playoffs. So 2 out of 12 games in the playoffs, Mikal Bridges has gone under 24 fantasy points. The 2 games he went under were in this series. One game he was in foul trouble and only played 31 minutes, and another game he was, or maybe it was this game he played 32 minutes. He had 4 fouls. He did get limited by foul trouble, and then I think the game before that, when he finished with 21 fantasy points, that game was a blowout. He got subbed out with I want to say 7 or 8 minutes left, and then he never subbed back in. Obviously, Game 7 here. I mean, sure, this game could blow out. But that's not something we can really project, I would say. There's been blowouts so far in the playoffs, but this is this is potentially the end of your season. Even if it's a 20-point game heading into the fourth quarter, the starters are going to be on the floor. You're going to do everything you can to make a comeback. You're not just going to throw in the towel super early in Game 7. You're going to play it pretty much down to the final minute. I think we're getting 40-plus minutes from Mikal Bridges. So far in the playoffs, you can take a look at his minutes. I mean, 47, 42, 34, 40, 39, 38, 40, 38, 44, 41. He's probably playing 40 to 42 minutes if I had to guess. And as long as Mikal Bridges can average, 0.6 fantasy points per minute. He's probably going to go over this 24 fantasy point projection. We know Mikal Bridges can defend really well. We know he's very good at getting steals and blocks, and that is something that, once again, like I said, it's very rewarding on Prizepicks. 3 points each for steals and blocks. That's something Mikal Bridges has been able to do, is get those stocks. He can rebound as well. He can get some assists. He's a decent scorer. He just does a little bit of everything when he's on the floor. And I think his fantasy point projection should be like 27, 28. I think 24 is a little bit too low. So I do like that one as well, over 24 fantasy points for Mikal Bridges. Mainly the minutes is my really like the attracting thing for me. It's just Mikal Bridges is going to play so many minutes that he can almost just fall into 24 fantasy points fairly easily. And obviously, he could easily eclipse this number with how many minutes he's going to play. So that's the second pick I like for today. And third pick, it's a very similar pick. It's kind of a minutes play. I'm taking over 20 fantasy points for Dorian Finney-Smith. So you look at the game log for Dorian Finney-Smith so far in the postseason. He has gone over 20 fantasy points in 9 out of 12 playoff games. So 22, 24, 25. You see all these games he's gone over this season, or in the playoffs, excuse me. The 3 games where he went under, one game he played 25 minutes. That was last game. He was in foul trouble, and I think it was a blowout as well. The game before that, or 2 games before that, was when he played 20 minutes. We all remember that game. He had 4 fouls in 20 minutes. He was in foul trouble the entire game. And then one game he did play 37 minutes and only finished with 12 fantasy points, which I feel like was a little bit of an outlier. Normally when normally when Dorian Finney-Smith plays 40, 42 minutes, which is what he's been averaging in the playoffs, you can look at his minutes so far in the postseason: 38, 47, 46, 44, 41, 41, 40, 40, 42. Like, he's getting probably 40 to 42 minutes here if this game's close. Obviously, Game 7, win or go home, you're going to really, lean heavily into your main guys. So I expect huge minutes for Luka, huge minutes for Jalen Brunson, huge minutes for Reggie Bullock, and obviously huge minutes for Dorian Finney-Smith. He's very similar to Mikal Bridges in that he can defend, he can get those steals and blocks. Steals and blocks are worth 3 points each. Those things add up quickly when you take fantasy point projections. Dorian Finney-Smith can knock down threes, he can rebound, he can get those stocks. I just feel like he's going to play so many minutes that it's going to be hard for him to not get to 20 fantasy points when he's playing 40-plus minutes. As long as he can average half a fantasy point per minute, he's probably going to eclipse this projection because we know the minutes are going to be there. As long as he can make a couple of threes, grab a few rebounds, get a steal or a block, that's probably the easiest way he's going to get 20 fantasy points. So I think all these projections are too low. There's a lot of projections I like for today. I will say that since it is Game 7, you're always going to want to look at the lines and see which lines stand out the most. But I feel like betting overs in Game 7 makes a lot more sense just because, stars are going to be pushed heavily. Luka, Giannis, these guys, Tatum, these guys are playing massive minutes. If your season's over if you lose today. So they're going to do, the coaches are going to do whatever they can to win these games. They're going to push their main guys. So you should see massive minutes for a lot of the key starters. The guys that normally play big minutes, they're probably going to play even more minutes today. So I think taking overs makes a lot of sense in games like this, in Game 7, these very important games that you expect to stay close. You expect a lot of the main guys to be playing huge minutes, and if all things go right and no foul trouble, no blowouts, none of that crap, we should get 40-plus minutes from all 3 of Drew, Mikal Bridges, and Dorian Finney-Smith. And if they all play 40-plus minutes like they're supposed to and like I'm expecting them to, I feel very confident they're going over their fantasy point projections for today. So those are my 3 plays for today, guys, for Sundays. 2 games, over 40 fantasy points for Drew Holiday, over 24 fantasy points for Mikal Bridges, and over 20 fantasy points for Dorian Finney-Smith. Feel really good about these 3 plays. Hopefully we can get a clean sweep today, win some money, before we move on to the conference finals. And as always, I'll still be making videos during the conference finals, even though we're just going to have 1 game a day. I'll try and do my best to come up with at least a couple of plays I like each day for the conference finals games. I don't think we're going to have any games on Monday. I think the next game will be played on Tuesday, so I won't have a video up Monday. But I'll be back for Tuesday. Talk through some props I like for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll have to see if it'll be Boston or Milwaukee that advances. But yeah, these should be some great games Sunday. I'm definitely going to be tuning in. Hopefully we can win our props today, make a little bit of money. As we said at the beginning, if you're new to Prizepicks, get over there, sign up, use code Noah, take advantage of this promo Prizepicks is running. Over 0.5 points for Luka Doncic is a free pick for today. You can take that, you can pair that with the 3 plays I gave out in this video. If you want to just take 2 of the 3 plays I gave out and pair that with Luka, you could do that. If you just want to take 1 of the plays that you like and pair that with Luka, you could do that. But definitely get over to Prizepicks, sign up and use code Noah. Get your first deposit matched up to $100. But that's all that I got for today, guys. Wish you the best of luck tonight. Hope you guys win some money, and we will see you in the next video. Good luck, guys. Peace.